What is going on, everyone, and welcome to Around the Metaverse, our weekly show where we bring together some of the best content creators from the blockchain and NFT gaming community, talk about all the recent news, and give you guys everything you need to know to stay up to date. My name's Adam, and I'll be your host today. But more importantly, as always, we have a great group of guests for y'all. Thank you for joining us. First and foremost, we've got Crypto Stash in the house. How's it going tonight, my friend?
Doing it. You know, another beautiful Monday. Beautiful Monday in crypto. There's always so much. Like every week, I look forward to like what's going to happen next. What is going to be next? Who knows?
Every Monday we got something new to talk. I mean, it's been
there's like, always something, man.
You know, it's been good the past 3 weeks, man. I mean, there's been a lot. Well, not particularly good news, I suppose, but a lot has been happening. And you know, yes, it's Turkey Day week for those who celebrate that too. But we got a bunch of guests for y'all today, and thanks to having them on. We got Bulldog 1205, NFT gaming content creator and top tier Splinterlands player. How's it going, Bulldog? Thanks for joining us again.
It's going outstanding. Thanks for having me back. I appreciate it.
Of course, man. Happy to have you. We got CautionFun in the house. We got a top ranked Gods Unchained player for Team Stream Team and fellow content creator. How's it going, Caution?
I'm doing well. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Awesome to have you, man. Thank you for coming. And last but certainly not least, a new face on the channel or on the show here. We got CryptoChris, Director of Partnerships over at Metatope. An awesome, basically 3D virtual skin that you're going to be able to overlay onto yourself. They're doing some cool things over there. And we're happy to have you on the show tonight, Chris. How's it going, man?
Dude, fantastic, guys. Yeah, bringing the mocap into Web3. It's well needed, and AR's awesome to be a part of that kind of stuff.
AR
augmented reality.
AR is the path to like it, you know, people talk about VR, right? But AR is actually what's going to onboard way more people than the full virtual reality probably in the next coming years. But thanks for coming on, CryptoChris, man. Happy to have you.
Thank you.
We got a great show for y'all watching out there tonight. Thanks for joining us, everyone watching. Before we jump into the show, I actually want to give a huge shout out to the folks over at Illuvium, our exclusive sponsor for Around the Metaverse. Now, for those of you who don't know, you're probably living under a rock, especially with the new stuff that they just dropped. But Illuvium is an open world exploration NFT creature collector and auto battler game. So think of it like a Web3 version of Pokemon in a sense, if you're not familiar with Illuvium. They recently announced the next NFT drop they're doing called the Illuvatars, along with a trailer that we're going to look at right now. Now, Illuvatars are actually going to be their second major drop. Well, a couple months ago, they did a huge land sale that went over as a massive success. And for those of you paying close attention, they actually just had another massive announcement. So if you haven't seen it, check out their YouTube because they just dropped a ton of footage of what their overworld, open world gameplay is going to look like. And that is truly the AAA side of this game, in my opinion. So if you haven't seen that yet, make sure to go check it out. We're going to be putting out a video too about it in the next couple of days. So keep an eye on our channel for that as well. But let's get into the show, man. We've got a bunch to talk about tonight. We're going to be going over Star Atlas's road to recovery here in a recent announcement they put out with, you know, some interesting news about several upcoming NFT sales.
Sale. Let's go.
Yeah, we don't need money, guys. We're just giving y'all NFTs.
Stock them deep and sell them cheap.
We're going to be talking about, on a similar note, some massive Web3 game layoffs, that have been happening and potentially more to come. And then lastly, we're going to be just talking about are NFTs dead? I mean, we're at probably we're at the lowest point. I don't know if we're going lower, but we're at the lowest point in terms of sentiment and things that we've been at in a while. So this is the question on everyone's mind. Are NFTs dead? We're going to get into it. But first, let's talk about Star Atlas and the road to recovery. For those that haven't seen, Star Atlas the other day put out an announcement about, it's Black Friday this weekend, y'all, and Star Atlas is following suit with four different, three or four different sales. The most, I guess, prominent being a sale for these Titan flagships, these battleships that are going to start at an 80% discount, and then week by week, I believe, go up. Or the discount is going to decrease by a certain percent. But the starting price for this NFT, even with an 80% discount, is $1 million. So they're going to be attempting to sell a few of these $1 million ships here, and then ultimately, if they don't go up to $5 million, I believe, and then they're also going to be selling off a bunch of their excess stock of like the ships that you would use in the auto supply management game that they have right now. Those are also going to be on an 80% discount. So they're putting out a lot of NFTs at a pretty big discount here, and I want to ask your guys' opinion on why they might be doing that, and if what they're doing is going to help them out of the situation that they're in right now. So Stash, let me start with you, man. Do you think this Black Friday style sale that they've got going on the tailwind of the FTX Alameda collapse and them losing 50% of their runway, their treasury in FTX? Do you think that this is going to work out for them? Is this the right move that they're making right now?
Is it the right move? It's the only move. I don't really know what to do. Like, what do? You get to a point where you're just like, all right, we give up. Screw it, guys. I'm sorry. We give up. Like, what other move do you have? It kind of, the Black Friday thing, whatever. I honestly understand, like, games and lots of people do that. It's
not actually labeled like that. I was just
no,
making.
I know. I'm just saying, but like, as far as like doing new sales, I can understand from their position why they would need to do that, and come out with some new sales. The problem with that is that I already kind of felt like they had already oversold a little bit. And so now it's going to be hard, I think, to get a little bit more money out of the community. They've already sold a lot of money worth of assets. And it's unfortunate that, 50% of the runway got taken out with FTX, but it's going to be hard to squeeze the community for some more dollars out there. I also don't think they're going to sell any of those $1 million ships, man. I don't know about you guys. I just don't see it. Good. I hope they do. If they sell $1 million ship, look, dude, hold on. If they sell a $1 million ship, I will be incredibly bullish on Star Atlas. There's nothing that would say, hey, if it wasn't just a wash trade, if someone truly invested $1 million and said, you know what, I believe this much in this game, I'm going to buy one of these ships. That's a bullish sign. I don't know if it's going to happen though.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't believe that they've put out an official date for it to start yet. Yeah, let me double check. But they were hoping to start the sales rolling out this week. They just still haven't officially announced it. So coming soon, I'm sure pretty quickly, given the dire straits here, these days. But caution. Oh, Stash, are you going to say something?
Oh, no, I was just saying, when you talk about dire straits, like I don't feel like they're necessarily in dire straits though. But I don't know. I want to hear what CautionFun. I want to hear what you guys have to say. I don't know. I don't feel like they're in dire straits, but.
Yeah, but Caution, let me get your opinion on this, man. Did you hear about this sale? Do you think that anyone would be willing to pay $1 million for a Star Atlas NFT right now? And like, in your opinion, what would you say the biggest issue with this sale is?
I don't know. It's such a thorny situation overall, right? And the timing could not be worse. In that sense, the price tag has to be the biggest red flag for me. Asset prices are down across the board, not just in the NFT gaming space, but like the crypto space as a whole, right? So if you're the kind of person who's got like $1 million to blow on in-game assets, there's a lot of opportunities out there for you right now. So I don't know how you're going to convince somebody to part with that amount of money at this moment in time. It's a tough ask.
Yeah, it's like I would also be super bullish, and I hope that they do sell some of these NFTs, but it's like you have one of those flow charts where it's like, is there a better use of this $1 million? Yes. Like, it's like,
it only goes,
do you have, it's like, yeah. No, but hey, you know what we should do, guys? We should start a DAO to fundraise our own DAO for the faction that we were going to have, Oni, or at least Stash and I were going to have to fundraise to try and get one of these NFTs. But no, but Bulldog, let me ask you, man.
$1 million.
Wow. But I mean, what would you do if you were in the position of the Star Atlas right now? I mean, what would this be your fundraising strategy? Is just do a bunch of NFTs and sell as much as you can at a discount? Or I mean, would there be anything else you would be thinking of?
I mean, I understand why they're taking that approach and why that's the approach that they want to have. I think it's kind of tough to ask the community for that though, and it's like I don't want to also gloss over how irresponsible of a move this was for them to even lose these funds. When you have these pre-sales, people are investing in this game. They expect you to take that money and go develop a game. To then take that and then invest it into other crypto assets, even if you thought they were low risk or whatever the case is, like that's you're letting the community down there. So now to turn around and say, okay, we screwed over the community. Now the community has to now help us out by buying more assets in order to make up for that. Like that's just that's kind of a tough thing to do. But I don't know exactly what their situation is, or if like as far as the actual company, like if you need to sell like stocks in the company or shares in the company to like private investors to be able to raise that money back, or what you have to do. But I think that's pretty tough. And from the community, I think that'd be a huge red flag. Like, oh, okay, we lost some of these funds. Now you guys have to make it back up for us.
Well, yeah, and I will say this: I don't. Well, it's not confirmed, at least. I would guess that they weren't investing the funds that they had on FTX in other assets. I think there was some kind of at least
they had it in there for the earn, because you could earn. I think so. The reason why was I think it's twofold, and we've seen a little bit about this where. A lot of these companies that took investments from FTX were basically hey, keep your funds on our exchange, and then you're, as kind of part of the deal, more or less. And then they're earning too, so they thought, hey, this is a great deal. They invested in us. We're earning some money back from their money. They gave us and
then SBF was fat fingering all of that money away on venture capital investments and things like that.
Grossly mishandled,
but no, I mean, is neither here nor there. Hopefully they can recover from this. I mean, they're doing what they can, clearly. Chris, I want to ask you, man, I mean, do you think anyone is going to buy this $1 million NFT? Bulldog had a good point. It's like, what else could they do? It's like they could offer shares of their company or something like that, maybe. But, even as an investor, like, would you be like, what would you rather have, $1 million Star Atlas NFT ship or $1 million of stock in their company?
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough check to write for, I think, anybody at this stage of crypto and NFTs. It's when I first read the article, I was like, oh, I was like, this sounds like a good idea. I can pick up a cool ship. And then I read the price tag and I was like, what? Like maybe I'm misunderstanding something here. But I'm bullish on their land sale. From what I read, they're going to be doing multiple drops. And if somebody doesn't pick up $1 million ship, at least they could potentially pick up a ship comes with your land. So that's something I'm going to be looking for price wise, and see where they land with those. So overall, I'm actually kind of excited. I mean, Star Atlas has been here for a while. They have a pretty strong staple and I think a great community that will get behind them at any way that they can in their own capacity. But yeah, this $1 million play is definitely a reach. And I guess like Stash said, if it could get really bullish if somebody puts their money where their mouth is.
Yeah, I mean, imagine it's like this is what ignites like the next. It's like bull run back on, guys. one like the Twitter influence. Everyone on Twitter is gonna flip bullish, right? Like as soon as the Star Atlas NFT gets bought, we're back going up, boys.
For like a day or for like a week, until the price goes down.
Yeah, for a week.
But I don't know. I mean, and Chris, you bring up a good point too. For those who are obvious, I mean, probably everyone watching this and everyone here is not going to be looking to buy a $1 million ship NFT. But at least you will be able to and have the opportunity to go get one of the other ship NFTs, of which there are several different variety, price tiers, and styles to choose from, or some of this land that they're going to be offering at a pretty nice discount. So keep an eye out for that, and hopefully, all wishes out to Star Atlas and Michael over there. they are one of the OGs here in the Web3 space for NFT games. You know, when that cinematic trailer dropped, I mean, everyone's jaw dropped. I mean, what, you know, one of the bigger projects in the space that we look up to still. But let's get into our next topic here, talking about on some more unfortunate news, I guess you could say, as a result of where we're at in the market, not just in crypto, but kind of overall with just the rest of the world and things too. But just like, you know, some of the big tech companies we've seen recently announce, you know, Amazon, Facebook, and I'm sure more to come in that space too, laying off significant percentages of their workforce. We're seeing the same thing start to happen here in Web3 and in the metaverse, with an announcement here most recently by Splinterlands, a project that's near and dear to us that we have done, you know, have shown on the channel for quite some time, laying off nearly 45% of their workforce here, I believe last week. And I want to get your guys' opinion on what this means for Splinterlands as a project, and what this could be a symptom of overall in our space here, for what's to come in the next you know, year or two here. Bulldog, let me start with you, man. I mean, do you think a 45% layoff is something healthy for Splinterlands with how ambitious the recent roadmap has been?
I mean, I feel like it's ultimately something they probably had to do. And I think Splinterlands, along with a lot of these companies, is still kind of learning how to grow and scale as a company. I mean, we saw last year when the bull run hit, like they were putting out fires left and right for several months because they just didn't have the capacity to expand that much. And then I think kind of got in the position where they overhired a little bit, and it's kind of going the other way on this end. So there's a big, I mean, a lot of these companies are basically new, and this is all kind of a new thing for them. And I think things were probably not really running all that efficient with all the hires, and maybe didn't have the smoothest transition from a small group of a small team up to a team of 150 and that type of thing. So I think overall this is actually the right move for them, and something that they needed to kind of cut back on and maybe focus more on like the game itself, the core aspects of the game. Maybe got it stretched a little bit too thin here. So overall, yeah, I think it was, I mean, it kind of hurts a little bit, but I think it's the right direction for them to go.
Well, yeah.
Bro, well, hold on, man. You're taking that shit like a champ. I don't know if you guys know, but Bulldog was a former community manager for Splinterlands, and he was on the chopping block as well. And it sucks, man. You know, in particular to see our friends, that happened to our friends. Man, rough, dude. So I don't know. I just want to say, man, taking like a damn champion, and I appreciate you, dude.
I'm not sure. I'm not saying I agreed with every single one of the firings, but
all the grace there, buddy. He's like,
but no, looking at
44% would have been better. 44%.
Yeah, exactly. If we could just kept that 1% of Bulldog.
And I think as they move forward, there'll probably be more hirings that come back a little bit. I think maybe they cut a little bit thin, but it's probably something that just it's necessary.
Yeah, I mean, and like Bulldog brings up a good point too. Like they were a project that's been in the space for quite some time now. They were originally, as many of these crypto projects are at the beginning, just a very small team that scaled to, you know, 150 people, like you said. You know, all of us here have experience working with small to medium to even large teams in crypto here, and you know, I think all of us can attest to like how overwhelming the overhead of having staff like that might be in a time like this, when, you know, even big companies like Amazon are firing, you know, tons of people too, or laying off. Chris, let me ask you, I mean, do you think that this layoff is a red flag for Splinterlands? I mean, 45% is pretty aggressive.
I mean, I always try to put everything in a positive perspective. I mean, there's nothing fun about losing your job. I mean, it's especially in this market. But what this does give you an opportunity to do, especially for Bulldog, you know, this is Web3 experience, and having that kind of experience this early in the game, I think is going to open some possibilities for companies that are maybe have a little bit more of an establishment, that are coming into the space, that are looking for somebody that can give them that experience and guidance. And you know, if we look at it as a red flag for the company, possibly, I mean, that would probably be something that Bulldog knows more than me about, in a sense of what's going on there. But outside looking in, I find it very exciting for the future of anybody who had the opportunity to work at a Web3 company now, and where they're going to be, where they land in the future.
Well, yeah, and I mean the reason I asked that too is because, at least in my opinion, the roadmap that they've recently come out with and where they're kind of going with the project, and having this layoff happen at the time it did, in the context of all of the like 5 maybe recent sales that they did. They dropped 2 different card packs. They did an Ethereum. They did a sale on on Ethereum where it got in typically their sales normally on Wax or on Hive are like you can get in for $5-10. This sale on Ethereum was like hundreds of dollars, as are Ethereum sales. They launched nodes. They launched or they're announcing coming out with a tower defense game, all this different stuff that is sort of expanding the scope beyond what I think is probably what they should be working on, is like things like land for the trading card game that they've had out for a while, or just working on the trading card game and improving the first thing that they set out to do.
The new player experience needs a little bit of an overhaul.
Yeah, we've talked about that quite a few times. There is no new player experience. It's literally you go in, like you don't know anything. Like there's no tutorial. There's not there's no guide at all. It's crazy, man. I mean, like, and so this is something that I've talked with Bulldog about too. Is that there's just not a lot of thought, I think, put into the direction, and this may have contributed to it. This is something I was critical about when I started seeing them move away from improving the core game and like focusing on all these other projects and things that didn't really like make sense with Splinterlands. And so I don't know if that affected this, like they tried to go on a limb and it didn't work, and so now that they overreach because of that. But yeah, I agree. With you, Alex. I think that they really needed to just kind of focus more on the game, and that may have yielded better results. At this point right now. But I don't think that when it comes to like companies and this time, I think we're seeing a lot of companies do this. It's pretty healthy and natural. Where it is not natural is when you have mismanagement. Where we've seen people just like grossly mismanage companies, and that does happen when you have a small team that doesn't really know what to do and they don't understand how to scale, and you have all this bloat. Right, and you're not a lean team anymore, and so it definitely is kind of a Web3 thing. There's a lot of new founders and people in Web3, so I think it does happen a lot here, and we've seen it happen with other Web3 games. And I think that actually Splinterlands is not going to be the last. If we look at some of these games out there are a lot of games that are kind of bloated. They've got a little bit too much staff probably, and we're going to start to see some cuts happening, I think, all around for the gaming industry, and Web3 is not going to be any exception at all for that downturn. So we have to really be on the lookout for that and understand that even our favorite games are going to have to go through these cycles and lay people off. But it doesn't necessarily mean it's a red flag. It's just kind of like, all right, well, this is hard times, man. Got to do what you got to do to stay afloat and keep going as a company. And ultimately, that is actually a good sign for investors.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, if you can make it out the other side of this whole thing and still be solvent and not bankrupt, that's a W.
That's like any company right now. I mean, you look at how many companies died during COVID, man, and companies that are struggling still, kind of post COVID. It's tough, man. And then economic woes are ahead. It's not like we're in smooth waters right now. Like it's not smooth sailing, man. It's
whitewater rapids,
storms
baby.
ahead.
Well, yeah, whitewater rapids. Get your life vest on.
It kind of is, man. There's so much going on and like so much uncertainty. We don't really know what's going to happen here over the next 6 months, a year, when it comes to crypto and the United States in particular. So I don't know, man. It's tough. Like I said, it's tough for any aspect.
Well, Caution, let me ask you, man. I mean, like, what would your advice be to someone who was recently, and I'm sure the layoffs have affected not just from Splinterlands, but from other companies here in Web3 have affected, more people than or some people watching the stream too. I mean, what would your advice be to someone who was recently let go from a Web3 company and is still looking to work in the space? Or what would be your advice to anyone looking to get a job in Web3 right now?
I mean, I think the best advice is just stay the course if you're here already. I'm sure all of us believe that crypto and NFTs, they're not going anywhere. So yeah, just continue to learn, contribute where you can, and just put yourself in a position where when the liquidity and the interest and the excitement returns, you're in a good spot, you know? But yeah, continuing to learn is definitely the key. Because like, I mean, whether it's Bitcoin or NFTs or a gaming token, like you need conviction in your investment thesis to last through a bear market. And I think the only way to build that conviction is by learning about the technology, you know, just learn about what it enables us to do. And that'll tell you why it's not going anywhere and why I think anyway, adoption is inevitable. So just stick it out.
Well, yeah, learning and not only learning, but using too. So like, I mean, this is the perfect time for like, you know, to actually go out and try some of the new like products or new projects and things that are coming out. Because this is like, you know, you talk about 3-4 years ago, this is our last bear market was the time when, you know, people were starting to say mint is it ENS? Yeah, mint and ENS, and then got tons of all that airdrop come through 2 years later, 3 years later in the middle of the bull market. So, like Caution's saying, stick around, and you never know what might happen if you have conviction in you know what you're looking at here. But that is the question, man. Is this stuff ever going to come back? And another, I mean, more specifically, are NFTs dead? I mean, it's funny, like, this headline and the FTX headline have been like across mainstream outlets. I feel like more so than anywhere else. It's like, you know, my grandma was asking me about FTX when she never heard about anything before, or like my grandma was asking me about Justin Bieber, like losing his life savings buying a picture of a monkey. She was like, "What are you like? What is this I heard about Justin Bieber losing all of his money from like buying pictures of monkeys?" And I don't know, man. It's like everyone. That's the hot story right now. It's like just like the NFT, the Bored Ape he bought for like $1.3 million or whatever is only worth like, you know, 70 grand right now, which is a big, I mean, 70 grand still not, I mean, still a lot of money to most people, but that's a big fat L right there coming from 1.3 million. And you know, that's pretty much the case with almost all NFTs, almost all crypto coin, like fungible tokens. And you know, I'm curious to know your guys' thoughts on if we're ever going to see something like what we saw 9 months ago with NFTs. Chris, let me start with you, man. I mean, like specifically, say Bored Apes, Cool Cats, CryptoPunks. You know, the big, really extremely famous, what kind of drove the NFT bull run that we saw, PFP NFTs. I mean, do you think like PFP NFTs are ever going to be as valuable as they were at the top of this last bull market, even in the next bull market?
I mean, my answer is going to be yes. The reason, and you know, like if we really think about it, you don't really lose until you sell. So as long as you hold that asset, you know, as long as there's demand. But yeah, when it comes to PFPs, now when it comes to like future PFPs, maybe that won't happen to projects of, you know, like of that caliber of like a blue chip, like a Bored Ape or a Punk, because those, you know, the PFP kind of era has happened. Now I think you'll see a lot more projects either introduce or partner and collaborate with complementing type of technologies. And that PFP, you know, if you create interoperability and you create sustained, you know, a scalable type of mechanism and attach it to a PFP, you could potentially reach those type of all-time highs again, right? I mean, we're in a very, very, I don't even know if this is winter. I think we're in ice age now. And you know, once we start melting and we get back into like, you know, back into the spotlight, I think it's going to require a lot of people working together. And I think that PFPs have a purpose for projects that have sustained this massacre of interest, and going forward into these, you know, this next bull cycle, if they took the time and made the right partnerships, and the technologies come together, and it could be something very special.
Well, yeah, and you know, it's funny too. Like you say, you don't lose until you sell. But if you're a Bored Ape holder, you lose when you give your seed phrase away for to the Nigerian prince who's sending you a Discord DM.
Yeah, I mean, nowadays, I mean, it seems like we had gone through a huge scammer phase, and as we've gotten, you know, a lot of those people that left, now people are focusing on finding ways to help each other be a little bit more secure with your assets. And I think a lot of companies in this bear cycle that were more security based have taken the time to build that type of stuff. I mean, I use like security for any type of purchase or transfer, or anything I do, just to double check the signatures so that I don't, you know, I don't have a Bored Ape, but I don't want to even lose like if anything's worth anything in my wallet, I don't want to lose it.
Yeah. No, I mean, even, you know, I mean, having a compromised wallet in any sense is not good, even if there's nothing in it, honestly.
I mean, where are you going to store your $1 million Star Atlas? You know, like
where are you going to put that shit, man?
Yeah,
I don't even know what I'd do with once I purchase it. I wouldn't even want to touch it.
Cold storage, dude.
Yeah,
all the way.
multi-sig, cold
Put it
storage.
on ice.
So hopefully the $1 million purchaser knows how to use a cold storage, or it could get a little messy.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, you know, I think you make a good point too. And like, while I would love to, personally, I would love to like hate on PFP NFTs and say that like they'll never be as valuable as they once were. And I honestly don't think they will in the same sense that they were. But I do think a PFP NFT will play an important part of like what will probably be the next big trend of NFT use cases. And you know, I'm curious to get your guys' thoughts on what you guys think is going to be the next kind of trend or use case of NFTs that sparks people's interest and gets things really going again. Bulldog, let me ask you, man. I mean, like, what do you think is going to be what brings NFTs back into the limelight here over the next 5 years? I mean, what's the best use case for them?
I mean, I'm obviously a little biased, but I still think it's gaming. Like, I think that's just the
I
most
asked you.
natural fit.
I asked for that reason. I wanted you to give that answer. Thank you.
but yeah, there's still a large barrier to overcome there. Like for example, I was looking at Superior is a game that actually just came out on Steam. They released a Steam version, so they've got two versions, one that uses NFTs and one that does not. And like going on there on the Steam forums, like people are upset when like there's some people that bought the game and then are upset because they learned that there is an NFT version because they are supporting a company that has an NFT version. Like, even though there's no NFTs in their version that they're playing, they're not competing against people with an NFT. They are just upset because they gave money to a company that supports NFTs. Like, there's so much negative stigma around there still. So there's a lot to overcome, and I think it's going to take a while, but the quality of games is going up, and eventually we're gonna get to the point where you see it used more and more, and people are going to want to play some of these games despite the fact that they have NFTs. And then, I actually own these now. Well, maybe this isn't actually so bad, and it's going to gradually come, but I think we'll get there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's too far off, but it's definitely not going to be anytime soon. I mean, I hope it's sooner than later, but Caution, let me get your opinion. I mean, like, why? And I agree, Bulldog. Like you said, gaming is probably the thing that, and I think a PFP NFT could be an integral part of a game's like NFT plan, and that would be like if a big enough game gets large enough in audience and has NFTs and has a PFP NFT. I mean, think about how valuable like a custom, like the top League of Legends, custom profile picture could be, or something like that. I don't know. But Caution, let me ask you, I mean, like, why would you, and I think your answer would probably be the same as Bulldog's. So
You're correct.
I'm gonna assume that in asking you, I mean, what would you say makes gaming one of, if not the best use case for NFTs?
I mean, so for me personally, it's the easiest use case to digest by far. I'm a Gods Unchained player. I've played multiple TCGs before that. And, all of my cards in Gods Unchained are NFTs, so I can sell them or trade them, just like all of my physical cards, like all my Magic the Gathering or Pokemon cards. But I also get all of the conveniences that come with a digital card collection. I don't have to worry about my cards getting like bent or damaged or anything. I don't have shelves of cardboard taking up space in my house. I can put my whole Gods Unchained collection on a USB drive, you know? And yeah, if I want to use my in-game items, it's the exact same experience as any other game. I just sign in with my wallet instead of my email. You know, so it's just, you get a multitude of benefits from every angle. And like Bulldog, you know, alluded to there, it's education is the issue. We just got to put the utility in front of people and, you know, kind of, I guess, denounce some of the FUD and the scare tactics that have been marketed around NFTs. You know, just getting over that hump of educating the masses on the benefits of NFTs as compared to the traditional in-game asset systems. Mm-hmm. And, you know, after that, it's just a matter of time. It's the obvious answer, I think, to all of us. So, you know, just getting the same information that we have in front of everybody else, I think that's the important part there.
Yeah, it's like, you know, like if you, you know, I've put a lot of hours into old school RuneScape. Like you pull up the little you pull up the little settings at the bottom, and it like nowadays it hides it from you. You can hide your overall playtime, so you don't need to like shock yourself every time you open it up, right? But like, you know, imagine all those hours you put into a game and all of the potentially money if it's a free, you know, these days if it's a free to play game and it's, you know, got microtransactions and things like that. Think about all that money that you put in time, and then it's like, oh, you know, I'm done playing. What do I do now? Is it all worthless? It's like in a lot of cases in Web 2, yeah, there's not shit you could do with that. But you know, in Web 3, there's probably a secondary marketplace where you could start to siphon off or sell off all of your assets, or maybe some kind of system in place to rent your cards out or rent your assets out to other players in the game. You know, where you can make a little bit of value back in whatever form that might be, for whatever, you know, Web3 game it might be. But I mean, that's the beauty of it. And Stash, let me get your spin on this. I mean, do you think NFTs are dead, and how soon before we see, well, I mean, NFTs aren't dead. Let's put it that way. Where you get, well, all right, go for it.
Hold on, stop. So look. Let me tell you guys. Let me just break it to you right now. NFTs are 100% dead, and let me tell you why. The term NFT is not something that people like. We've seen it already. There's a pushback, and that was the reason why we rebranded crypto to Web3. And so the thing is NFTs are dead. Using the term NFT, pushing NFT as a thing is not working. And it's probably not going to work. We're going to keep bashing down with this blunt object. And it's just, you know, thinking like, all right, we just keep smashing over the head with the same club, the NFT club. They'll come around eventually. And the fact of the matter is, no, NFTs are dead. Long live the digital skin. Long live digital collectibles. That's what people are already familiar with.
Oh yeah. So, if I can touch right on that too, I think we saw that shift when Starbucks announced digital collectibles, like on like a reward system kind of scale, and now Reddit having the avatars, like that's something that I talked to my team about, since I'm in essentially the avatar space, is, you know, transition out of the word NFT. So I agree with Stash. NFTs are dead. Personally, that's my personal opinion. But I'd love to see where we go with what the next. I don't think it's going to be called like a utility token, but I think there'll be something that somebody will have a really catchy name for these projects, and the next level of technology that comes into the space and what we call it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the technology is still going to be there. It's just the branding for it sucks. No, because no one decided that it was like, hey, here's the branding. It was just like, that's what this actually is. It's just, we just called it what it was, and they're like, damn, non-fungible token sounds like shit. Let's just go with NFT. That sounds great. That works. Non-fungible, you know. So it was never like decided upon by our industry saying this is going to be great, man. You know, everyone's going to love NFTs, and it works perfectly. So I think that, you know, when you talk about our NFTs dead, yeah, let's keep them dead. Let's keep NFT as a term dead, and, you know, just push digital skins, digital collectibles, because that's what gamers are familiar with. That's what they care about. And then all you got to say is like, hey, now you can trade all of your digital skins and you own them. And you don't have to worry about you know, them being counterfeit anymore, or them being taken by the game because you got banned or whatever it may be. So yeah, that's my answer. They're dead.
I mean, yeah. Well, I hope we rebrand from Web3 too, to be perfectly honest. I mean,
Web3 is not bad. All right, like, there's worse terms. Web3 is actually not a bad term. Like when you talk about rebrands, that was a pretty good rebrand, man. Going from like crypto Now it's
Okay,
Web3.
yeah.
And funny enough, like it still hasn't caught on.
Play to earn. We went from play to earn to Web3. Honestly,
Play and earn. Well, no, I mean Web3 in general is just kind of like I think a term for crypto. So instead of saying crypto gaming, we're saying Web3 gaming. And so I think people out there, it's a little bit more accepting. Like, oh, Web3. Oh, yes, web. I understand that. And this is a third version. Yes, I get this. Like, it equates it back to something that people understand and are familiar with. And so it's not as big and scary anymore.
Yeah, well, and a non-fungible token. I mean, God,
so scary.
Is this,
I don't know what it is, but it scares me. It's got to be a scam. Damn it! It's got to be. Look, trust me. It's a scam. It's a scam.
It's a Ponzi.
Guys.
It's a Ponzi. Yeah, like,
something.
It doesn't matter. Like gamers are just pushing back. Like Bulldog said, even the fact that the game has two versions, the one on Steam that they're rating doesn't have anything to do with NFTs. They're still gonna go trash it because that's how much they hate this. And hate this concept of what an NFT is, but
Steam eventually is gonna take it's gonna have like a 1-star review because like
1-star. I know exactly, yeah. but what it comes down to is nobody hates on CS:GO, and for them to be, I mean, maybe they do, but they don't like en masse hate CS:GO for having a skins market.
Yeah, and for no
and a high value one at that, like skins going for $400,000 for CS:GO skins. I don't know if you guys saw it, the most expensive skin ever. Which sucks because I just did a video about the last most expensive skin. But this one, $400,000, and no one's batting an eye. Like, oh, what does he own that? Like, is it an NFT? Oh, and it's horrible. It's a scam. Then, no one's saying there's no outrage over that. I haven't seen any outrage. Have you?
Nope. And then
it's just weird.
What are the odds? What are the odds too that in 20 years? When I don't know how long it will take for CS:GO to not exist anymore, but at some point. It will not exist anymore at some point. And at that point,
CS:GO for life, bro.
Dude, every game dies at some point, man. Every game dies at some point.
Yeah.
Whether it be, it could be 20 years, it could be 30 years, it could be 50 years. Who knows? Probably not. I mean, but maybe. But eventually that CS:GO skin is probably not going to be an NFT and is going to be not worth, it's not going to exist anymore. So there goes $400,000 right out the window,
Well, hopefully you get your value out of it by then. Maybe you've sold it already another time or two, or you really sucked it up. I don't know, man.
Someone's gonna end with it. Someone's got to go down with the ship.
I mean, yeah,
like hot potato almost. But that's all things. I mean, that companies will end. Don't invest in stocks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
well, eventually not use oil. Don't invest in oil.
Don't be left holding the bag, whether it be.
Don't be left holding that oil bag, guys.
Don't be left
Get rid of that oil bag now.
That's the final our parting words for y'all watching out there. Don't be left holding the bag. We're
don't hodl oil bags
here.
for the next 500 years. That's my advice, financial advice right there.
Well, hey man, I think oil bags would probably be the best bags to hold out of. I mean,
for 500 years? No. Nah, son.
I don't know.
Nah, son.
But that's all we have tonight, folks. Thank you guys for sticking watching with us. If you haven't yet, hit that like button, hit subscribe, and then don't forget to go down to the description and check out all of our friends' channels here. CryptoChris and Metatope are actually going to be having a sale coming up soon here, so check out their stuff too and get whitelisted for that. They've got some cool skins going on. Caution, Bulldog. Oh, free.
Yeah, yep. you can sign up for our if you're a content creator, if you're anybody that is an enthusiast of skins. We're actually thanks Stash for plugging the whole skin thing because our collectibles are called MT skins from day one. So
there you go.
Yeah, but you'll be able to use the tech for free, guys. So feel free to sign up. We'd love to have anybody that's watching this be able to use the tech first.
But yeah, thanks for sticking with us tonight, guys. Caution, Bulldog, Chris, thanks for joining. This is all we have tonight, folks. Catch you next week for another Around the Metaverse. See ya.